The Arcturians delivered a warning this week, and it is not the kind of message this channel usually brings you, beloved one. Do not scroll past this, because the warning is not about the world outside you. It is about something quiet, comfortable, and easy to miss happening inside you right now. They did not come through gently this time. They came through direct, almost stern, the way someone speaks when they love you too much to let you keep sleepwalking through something important. There is a specific cost to staying comfortable right now, and there is a specific reward waiting for you the moment you notice it. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will know exactly which one you have been living in. I bring this through exactly as it arrived, in the voice of the Arcturian collective. Beloved family of Earth, we do not often speak to you this directly. We prefer, most nights, to hold you, to reassure you, to remind you of how far you have already come. Tonight, we must do something different. Tonight, we must name something plainly, because so many of you have quietly stopped growing without realizing it, and mistaken the stillness for peace. Understand this clearly. Rest is sacred. Rest is necessary. This warning is not about rest. This is about complacency, the quiet cousin of rest that wears its clothing but carries none of its purpose. Complacency is not a villain. It is simply what happens when a soul that was once reaching, once questioning, once hungry to understand, settles into a comfortable numbness and calls it arrival. Many of you began this path with real fire. You read everything you could find. You questioned everything you had been taught. You felt the world crack open around you, and you leaned into that crack instead of running from it. Some of you have not felt that fire in a long time now, and you have not told anyone, because it feels like admitting failure. It is not failure, awakened one. It is simply the moment this transmission was built for. So, here is what the Arcturians wanted you to understand tonight. Complacency does not arrive loudly. It arrives as comfort. It arrives as familiarity. It arrives as the sense that you have already learned what you needed to learn, that you already know your path, that further growth can wait for a more convenient season. You stop asking the harder questions. You stop sitting in the silence long enough to hear anything new. You keep consuming the same comforting words without letting any of them change you further. This is why so many of you feel a strange, low-grade restlessness lately, even in the middle of a life that looks fine from the outside. It is not anxiety. It is not depression. It is your own soul, gently rattling the bars of a comfort it has outgrown. We are not scolding you, beloved one. We are naming something that every awakening soul eventually encounters, usually more than once. The first fire of awakening is intoxicating. It cannot be sustained at that intensity forever, and so it settles, as it must. But there is a difference between a fire settling into steady coals and a fire quietly going out while you keep insisting it is still burning. If this is landing somewhere true in you right now, tell me in the comments what part of your practice has quietly gone on autopilot without you noticing. The Arcturians continued. This matters more right now than it would have mattered 5 years ago, because the collective window you are living inside is narrowing. Not narrowing in the sense of running out, but narrowing in the sense of requiring more presence, not less, from every soul who came here to help hold this shift. A collective cannot rise on the strength of a few fully awake souls carrying everyone else. It requires as many of you as possible staying alert, staying engaged, staying willing to keep questioning even after the questions stop feeling urgent. Some of you have mistaken your own comfort for completion. You have decided you have done enough inner work, read enough, healed enough, and you have quietly stopped reaching. We tell you tonight, with love and without judgment, that the reaching itself was never meant to end. It was only ever meant to change shape. Think of the ones among you who once journaled every single morning and cannot remember the last time they picked up the pen. Think of the ones who once devoured every transmission, every teaching, every book that crossed their path, and now scroll past them without a second thought, telling yourselves you have simply moved past needing that. We ask you tonight, gently, whether you have truly moved past it, or whether you have simply grown tired and mistaken the tiredness for mastery. There is a particular kind of soul the Arcturians worry about most, not the ones still struggling, still searching, still uncertain, but the ones who have quietly convinced themselves they have arrived. Arrival is a story the mind tells itself to stop doing difficult work. The path does not end. It only asks less of your urgency and more of your consistency. And that shift is precisely where so many of you have mistaken a slower pace for no pace at all. Beloved one, the moment you notice your own complacency is the moment it begins to loosen its grip. This is the strange mercy built into this whole process. Awareness alone begins the correction. You do not need to punish yourself for the months or years you spent coasting. You only need to turn your attention back toward what you had quietly stopped attending to. When you do, something shifts almost immediately. Meditation that had gone flat begins to feel alive again. Questions you thought you had already answered reopen, and this time they open into something deeper than before. Synchronicities that had gone quiet begin appearing again, not because the universe was withholding them, but because you are no longer paying close enough attention to notice them. You are being invited, not punished, back into the reaching that first brought you to this path. And this time, the reaching feels different, less frantic, less desperate for answers, and far more grounded, because you are reaching now from a place of experience rather than fear. If this describes something shifting in you right now, tell me below. What is the first question you feel ready to ask yourself again? Honestly, after a season of not asking, the Arcturians wanted you to understand something else about this reawakening. It rarely arrives as a dramatic event. It arrives as a small decision, made quietly, to sit for 5 more minutes than you planned to ask one more honest question than you meant to ask, to read the thing you had been avoiding instead of the thing that simply confirms what you already believe. These small decisions repeated are what rebuild the fire the comfortable numbness had been quietly smothering. You will know the reawakening is real, the council said, because it will not feel triumphant at first. It will feel almost uncomfortable, like a limb waking up after sitting too long in one position. There may be a strange grief in it, grief for the time spent coasting, grief for the version of you that settled when it could have kept reaching. Do not let that grief calcify into shame. Let it simply move through you and out, the way all honest grief eventually does, leaving behind more room than it took. So what do you actually do with this warning? Because the Arcturians were direct that a warning without practical guidance is only half a gift. First, notice where you have gone comfortable without questioning it. Not everything comfortable is complacency, but ask yourself honestly whether a particular habit, belief, or practice is serving your growth or simply serving your ease. Second, reintroduce friction gently. Read something that challenges a belief you have held for years. Sit in silence a few minutes longer than feels convenient. Ask the harder question you have been avoiding, even if you are not ready for the answer yet. Third, stay accountable to something larger than your own willpower. Community, practice, ritual, whatever holds you gently to your own growth when your own motivation wavers, as motivation always eventually does. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. Even the most awakened souls need mirrors. Consider, too, the small signals your own body gives you when something has gone stale, a restlessness in the evenings that has no clear cause, a sense, faint but persistent, that you are simply passing time rather than living it. These are not symptoms to medicate away or distract yourself from. They are your own inner compass, quietly and patiently pointing you back toward the reaching you set down somewhere without noticing. And fourth, do not swing into anxious overcorrection. The Arcturians were clear that the goal is not constant striving or spiritual perfectionism. The goal is simply honesty with yourself about where you have quietly stopped reaching, and a gentle, sustainable return to reaching again. Awakened one, do not receive this warning as punishment, and do not let it curdle into shame. The Arcturians do not warn the souls they have given up on. They warn the ones they believe are still capable of rising, still needed for what is coming, still worth the discomfort of an honest word delivered in love. Complacency is not a permanent state, and it is not a moral failing. It is simply a season that every awakening soul eventually drifts into, and every awakening soul has the capacity to notice and leave. You are not behind. You have not failed this path. You have simply been resting in a season that has quietly run its course, and tonight's transmission is the gentle knock on the door reminding you that the reaching is still available to you whenever you are ready to pick it back up. Some of you have carried a quiet fear that admitting this, even to yourself, would mean starting over from the very beginning, undoing years of growth in a single honest confession. It does not work that way, beloved one. Nothing you built during the years you were reaching has been lost. It is simply waiting, exactly where you left it, ready to be picked back up by the same hands that put it down. If tonight's words landed somewhere true in you, tell me in the comments what you feel ready to reach for again. Not because I need to hear it, but because so many others watching this exact moment will feel less alone, seeing you name it out loud. As this transmission closes, I find myself thinking about how many of you will recognize something tonight that you have not admitted out loud to anyone, maybe not even to yourself. Whatever your own beliefs about the specifics shared here, I think what remains true underneath all of it is this: comfort and growth can look identical from the outside, and only you can feel, honestly, which one you have been living in. If tonight's transmission named something you have been quietly noticing, you do not have to sit with it alone. The community around this channel exists exactly for moments like this one, souls comparing notes on precisely this kind of quiet reawakening, supporting one another through a transition the wider world is not yet ready to speak about openly. If you have been sitting with this privately, wondering if anyone else feels it too, come find us there. We are not asking you to become someone frantic, someone constantly striving, someone who can never simply sit still and call it enough. We are only asking you to be honest with yourself about the difference between a peaceful stillness and a quiet forgetting, and to trust that noticing the difference is, itself, already the beginning of the reaching returning. Until the next transmission arrives, stay open, stay awake, and trust the ones who love you enough to tell you the truth.